Hello, hello?
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 Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes.
What up, dude?
Well, not much. How are you?
Oh, just
Oh,
talking about
yeah.
the the mindsets and trends of people on Twitch.
Everyday ESC.
Nah,
Yeah.
I'm doing good, man.
Yeah. Gotta coach Twitch chat first before you coach me, right?
I honestly, I'm not really coaching Twitch chat there. I'm just giving my perspective because it's I don't I got it's not something that like upsets me or anything like that. Like I'm not mad about it. It's just very peculiar. I'm always like I like the one thing that like just to give like yeah I guess to you and you can give me your opinion on this if you want to. The one thing that I'm not really sure of, like that okay, there's one way I think this is gonna go, but like there will come a day when StarCraft 2 just really like doesn't have like a player base as much anymore. That's like content creators streaming it and all this stuff. Like there will come a day when that will happen eventually. Is that going to be tomorrow? Then no. But is it going to be within the next 5 years or something? Yeah, possibly. Yeah. But I feel like what's going to happen is the next well designed UI RTS that comes out is going to replace StarCraft. Like let's just say for instance the one everyone's talking about and myself included is like Frost Giant Studios game. Like all the remaining StarCraft 2 Ultra fans are probably going to jump ship to a game like that if it fills the the niche that StarCraft is in of like just the pacing of the gameplay. But like I don't know. I feel like if let's just hypothetically say that that doesn't happen and there's no game that StarCraft 2 players ever feel like is a successor to StarCraft 2, like what are those people going to do? Are they just going to quit watching Twitch altogether? They're just going to fucking just eventually just lose interest into streaming and just stop watching? I feel like that's what would happen. It's one or the other if you just never want to watch anything else. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I think it's like I think you're right. It's like it's more about like perspective and selfishness. It's like, why aren't you doing the thing that I want you to be doing?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. It's
Like,
all right, go ahead. If you want to keep going, keep going.
like I for one like only watch StarCraft, but
This coaching lesson's
like
over
this is
then.
my
No, I'm just joking, dude.
this is how I got into esports, right? And like it's very recent. So like I haven't like branched out and like started watching other stuff yet.
No, it's totally fine. Like, I'm not gonna get mad at anybody for not watching any other content. If anyone like for if I use myself for an example, if anyone ever doesn't want to watch my like Diablo stuff or my WoW stuff or my FPS stuff like Apex or something, that's totally fine. I totally get it. But I feel like the thing that this is like from the viewer's perspective, I can completely put myself in that person's shoes and like understand where they're coming from, where it's like they know what content they like and they know what content they want to watch, and if they're not getting that, they'll go somewhere else to try to achieve that. Like I totally get that and I can respect that concept. It's totally fine. But if you think about that, so I feel like that's a viewer's perspective and I get it. But from a streamer's perspective, if you ever think about business wise that you're gonna build your core audience in a method that's going to make your core audience literally leave you every time you're not doing the one thing that they want you to do, it's fucking crazy. Like it's that's like the biggest business model to fucking fail. Especially if you're building a community or your business model in a community that is relatively small nowadays. So anyone out there who gets upset with a streamer when they're not just playing StarCraft 2, there's probably two reasons why they're doing it. Number one is they're probably trying to branch out so that their brand doesn't fucking die. Or the other one is because they're probably mentally fucking exhausted. Because doing the same thing day in, day out repeatedly is literally mentally draining. It's fucking mentally... Like, and if you're mentally drained, you're not going to get the kind of content you want out of that content creator anyways, because it's going to be uninspired and it's going to be like fucking salty as shit. And it's just, I don't know, it's going to be like a lesser version of what you expect from that person. So, I don't know. I feel like a lot of people don't understand that concept. They think about only the streamers or the viewer's perspective. They don't think about the streamer's perspective. And I guess maybe some people can't think about it because they haven't really experienced it, I guess. But holy shit, man. It's actually crazy. Anyways, we don't talk about that anymore. I'm not going to make this also take part of your coaching lesson. I'm like, hey, guess what, Zogger? You're 10 minutes in already. So we're only got 50 minutes left. No, we're all good. We'll start from like from now, basically. But what up, man? How's your StarCraft going? I just kind of wanted to talk about that because my chat was talking about it. But yeah, how you doing today?
Yeah, doing pretty good. So like I prepared a bunch of replays for ZvZ because I think that like overall that has been my worst matchup historically. But like I was looking at my stats earlier, and I think like in the higher leagues, like ZVP has been worse for me. But since I have ZvZ prepared, like we should probably just go over that.
Yeah, I mean, whatever works. Whatever you want to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And ZVT, like I'm crushing it pretty hard. Like it's like I think I have like a 70% win ratio on against Karen.
Nice.
But the other two, like I'm struggling a little bit.
Okay, yeah, it makes sense. I would say ZVT really, like, to be honest, all the matchups can be broken down to something, but that's what I'm about to say. But then what I'm about to say is every matchup can be broken down mechanically, realistically. Like you don't even have to use your brain most of the time if you just have mechanics to make up for that. ZVT is the biggest one. That is the most mechanically demanding. And the better your mechanics are in ZVT, the more of a monkey brain you can have. Like, honestly, like you don't even have to really use your brain. Just be like, I'm fucking good at injects and creep spread and you're dead now. But ZvZ and ZVP, I would say there's a little bit more to it than just going, is this guy going mech or bio, I guess. Like there's more differences that can be happening. So we can kind of like figure out if what you're doing even makes sense against what you're like, you know, what you're on average going up against or whatever game we're going to look at. And we can talk about, we'll see what your scouting looks like, see if we can fix that for you, stuff like that. But yeah, I would say ZvZ and ZVP definitely are a little bit more of a puzzle to figure out than ZVT. ZVT literally is the most mechanically demanding one. But so you wanted to look at ZvZ, you said then?
Yeah. So like in ZvZ, like I'm having a problem in like two main areas, I think.
Okay.
Like which is like early cheese.
Mm-hmm.
So like I'm struggling against like link floods. I don't think I'm like walling off in time.
Okay.
And maybe like my minimap awareness is not there.
That's huge. Yeah.
Like I'm missing the move outs.
For that one, that's absolutely, like, I'm glad you said that because it's absolutely like minimap awareness is by far the most important thing in ZvZ. Absolutely, because there is the least amount of time to react in ZvZ, and it's the most obvious one as well because there's only one way for a Zerg to attack another Zerg if they're not going to go across the map, and that's with layer tech. And layer tech games are pretty fucking obvious to find out that they're going layer tech. So if they're not going layer tech, you know, tech rush type shit, you don't have minimap awareness, your chances of dying are very high. So that's definitely something that you just have to work on. And I would say a tip I could give you for that, it's really hard to explain this because I can't actually articulate my eyeballs like method when I'm playing StarCraft. Like it's as easy, but the best way I can try to articulate it is if you're anyone out there that struggles with minimap awareness, it is genuinely not about looking at the minimap. It's not. It's about, like, it sounds weird to say that, but like obviously you're gonna look at the minimap from time to time, but there is not a single high-level player out there that always looks at the minimap to catch things happening on the minimap, and then that's just when it happens. And whenever they're not looking at the minimap, they're just not going to catch it. So they look at the minimap every like 2 seconds or 1 second. They're like just eyeballs going back and forth. Like if you really quickly jitter your eyes left and right, like that's not how they play StarCraft. And they're just like going back and forth, looking at minimap game, minimap game, minimap game. It's really about what it really is it's about finding a way to move your eyeballs around less and use your peripheral more. Because if you actually move your eyes less, you actually start realizing your peripheral catches more things. And most people that play StarCraft 2, Although, yes, they will look at the minimap. They will glance at it from time to time. They do always catch something with peripheral and then look at it. It's almost like you're like a fucking... it's like you're like anyone that plays like FPS games, it's like the best example I can give you. But if like you're like sniping down, like if you played like PUBG and you have like a fucking sniper and you have like an 8x looking way down this fucking field and you're fucking sliding your scope left right, you're not, and you're like, I can't see anybody unless it's really obvious, then you're not going to see anybody. But if you just don't fucking move your mouse, and which means your camera stays stationary, and then you see a little few pixels like running on the side of the hill that you wouldn't have caught if you were fucking sliding your mouse everywhere. You're like, and then as soon as you see that, because it's movement, your peripheral catches movement, and then you go, oh, what's that movement? And then you fixate on movement. It's exactly how you should look at the minimap in StarCraft 2. You let movement happen with peripheral, and then you fixate with your eyes then. You don't really... It's not about finding it and then fixating before movement, if that makes sense. And a lot of people that are newer to the game think it's that way, like it works like that. And they're never going to catch movement if they fixate their eyes constantly, everywhere, like around the screen constantly. Does that make sense? It sounds fucking weird, but I hope that makes sense.
Yeah, I think because also like I've been playing a lot of 2v2s with Champagne. You know, like I have him to like fall back onto the minimap awareness. So like I don't think I've trained that skill just yet.
Do you play FPS at all?
Not really.
Okay. You know what? I'm not even kidding. If you did, it probably would help you with minimap awareness. Again, that sounds weird, but if you actually play FPS games generally give you a... Like, let me say it like this. This is actually a really good way to say this. There are skills that you learn as a human being, as a player of video games, that you get from certain games. And certain games require more of something than others. And it actually translates to other games. It's because it's a skill that you have. It's not like a skill in the game. It's not like you equipped your character with like a new fucking item you found, and it's like, oh, my character got better. It's like you actually got better at catching peripheral movement because you play a game that reinforces that you need that more. StarCraft doesn't really reinforce that you need it that much. You can honestly play StarCraft without peripheral at all. You totally could. But if you play FPS games, you really need a lot more peripheral vision like going on, because there's so much you have to catch, because if you don't catch it, you're just going to lose all the time. You're going to die repeatedly. So if you wanted to try a cool experiment for yourself, you don't have to do this, obviously, but if you wanted to try it for fun, try picking up an FPS game for like a little while, maybe like a couple months, and then see if your minimap awareness literally increases. I bet it would, honestly.
Okay.
I don't know. I feel like that would actually be a thing that would help you. Because it seriously is, it's something that you can't really train, like in StarCraft. It's hard to do that. It's really just about being more confident in knowing what you're doing without having to stare at everything and move your eyes constantly. Like if I had an eyeball tracker on my I should get one sometime, but if I had an eyeball tracker on my stream, my eyeballs would not be going like you'll see this in the VOD, I guess, but I'm moving my mouse on my stream right now. Like my eyes are not doing this constantly around the fucking screen. I'm not moving my eyeballs like that at all. Literally, I'm not doing that. My eyes my eyes literally do this. Like they just fixate in an area. I don't really constantly move my eyes, which is why I always catch things when I'm playing this game, like observers that I don't even have a detection for. I'm like, oh, I fucking see an observer randomly right there. Because I have peripheral and I see movement, or I see a DT, or I see a burrowed roach coming at my base and I don't even have detection. It's literally because my eyeballs are not flailing around the screen. They're just fixating on points. And I know it's like, it's also like, I guess a good way to say this is it's like an automated reflex to where my eyeballs are going to fixate because I've played so many games that like I don't have to think about it. I know where the resources are and my eyes can fixate up there. I don't have to like overshoot it and like look at my fucking ceiling and then look back down at like looking at the top right of my screen, right? Like yeah, it's obviously a huge exaggeration, but you get the point though. Anyways. That's impossible to teach, though. Otherwise, I feel like what I just said is probably the best way I can help you with minimap awareness. That is super important for ZvZ, though.
Okay. So the other ZvZ, like where I'm struggling, is when the opponent is like doing like a roach all in off of 44
Uh-huh.
workers, and like I'm joining up to 66.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like hitting right then, and like I just don't have enough stuff to.
Okay.
Uh,
I have a question for you then, because
yeah.
this is something you have to know as well. If your opponent has 44 drones and you have 66, how often are you scouting that guy's mineral line?
Not very frequently,
Okay. Like
or not at all.
if I okay, yeah, I was gonna say if you say not at all, that's understandable. But I was gonna ask you if you had to guess in the first 6 minutes of the game, how many times did you think he's got his mineral line? And if you say zero, that is something you got to work on because there is no answer around it if you don't scout. So I'm gonna ask you a new question now. If you have 66 drones, what does that mean? Each of your bases are gonna have in terms of saturation. Are they gonna be like fully saturated, or what do you think that means?
Uh, I well, for 66 drones, I try to have like full saturation on three bases.
Okay, correct.
But
Yep.
if I'm like running out on because like it took me a little too long or something, maybe I'm running out on a couple
Yeah,
patches.
sure. That's
Uh,
totally fine. I'm just really happy that you said it's fully saturated. I'm glad that you understand what that means that it's fully saturated because if you didn't, we would talk about it.
yeah.
Now, if your opponent has 44, what does that mean for him? What would you expect to
Two,
see if you scouted him and you were on? If you scouted a guy who was on 44 drones, what do you think his base would look like? And if he was a Zerg player?
two base full saturation.
Okay. So okay. Now here's where it gets tricky. If he has a two base full saturation, what build do you think he's doing? Because if we're talking about a Zerg having two fully saturated mineral lines and four gases, what kind of builds do you think he's going to do with that?
I think either Roach Ravager or Muta.
I would definitely say Muta. Uh, the only way anyone really goes Roach with two base full saturation is if they're going to do like a skipped Zergling speed, straight up like gasless into Roaches really fast, and then they like wall off their natural, and they take a fast third once they get Roaches, or if they go for like a Nidus All-In or something like that. But if someone opens up like Speedlings, they're never going to have two base full saturation. So if you're going for 66, like how do you actually open in ZvZ? Do you go wall off two base still? Because am I right?
Yeah,
Okay. So you're doing
yeah, I
like
tried to, but my walling skills are not good.
okay, so that's something we got to work on as well. Because that's the only way you're gonna live as well if you get all in. Um, if you're going for
Yeah,
a like no speed build.
yeah. So I've just been doing a BDGM
Yeah.
still.
That's
Yeah,
fine. That's totally fine. That literally works all the way up to GM. I'm not even kidding. Like if I played a game right now in Zerg vs Zerg, I guarantee I have a 50% chance to win the game at 5k plus MMR doing that build in ZvZ. Uh, like it totally can win games at that high of MMR. But so basically, what I'm trying to say is if you don't scout at all, like, okay, let me say it like this. You're actually not going to be scouting with speedlings, okay? Because you're doing a B2GM gasless roach build. So what you should start incorporating into your build though is you should start incorporating an immediate overseer as soon as your overlord, or sorry, as soon as your layer is done with an overlord that is already at like the area of his base, somewhere around his base, like his third or some shit like that. You have to fucking scout because if you get a layer, because what your build is you're going for double queen and then you're getting an immediate layer and you're getting a third queen out of your fucking second hatchery. So you can easily afford a overseer at his base way fucking before you have a fully saturated third base. There is like a discrepancy of like 3 minutes that is unaccounted for of no scout and making drones there for you if you're going fully saturated third base and like and quote unquote dying to something that he's doing to you. So if you make an overseer, you can definitely figure out what's going on and
Mhm.
use it repeatedly. Try not to just throw it fucking away and die right away, but like check his mineral line, get out, get in, get out. And if you see a mineral line that looks way worse than yours, you need to check for composition and you need to check for strat choice. Resources tell you that, and also so does straight up seeing the units. But like for instance, if you saw somebody was on 3 bases. Let's just hypothetically say someone's on 3 bases. You're on 3 bases. Let's say you have 57 drones, which means you have 4 gases and like 3 fully saturated mineral lines, and you're about to get ready soon to start your 5th and 6th gas here pretty soon, because you're not there yet, but you're almost have enough drones to do it. You're like on 13 drones on your 3rd base. Okay, and now your opponent has 0 drones on the mineral line of his 3rd base, but he has double gas at his 3rd base, already mining fully, like 6 drones on gas, and then his natural and his main fully saturated with gas and minerals. And that's a situation where you got to think to yourself, okay, this guy's doing a gas heavy build. What the fuck exists that is gas heavy? And the one that matters the most would be mutas, because your build is going roaches yourself. So even if he was going roaches and ravagers, who gives a fuck if you're making, like, you still need to see the resource count, but it's not as big of a deal if you're making roaches anyways. There's, okay, Zogger, I really want to give you like a lot of theory too, but I'm gonna like pause myself there for a second, because I'm also probably gonna confuse the fucking shit out of you about like a lot of stuff here, because there's so much that needs to be said. But at the same time, it can be I feel like I'll just make it more basic, because I feel like I'm turning this into like a high master's lesson, and I'm probably gonna fucking calm down a little bit, because it's I think it's getting a little bit away here. Because what you're right now, you're like diamond, right? Like diamond 3 or something you said?
Yeah, diamond 3.
Okay, yeah, I'm gonna fucking tone it down on you a little bit. I feel like I'm really giving you the ringer right now. Okay, anyways, let's just go into replay, okay? Let's just do that. You said you have replays prepared. Go ahead and plop one over to me in Discord, and I'll just go into replay and we'll talk about your replay, and we'll give you some visuals. Because I feel like I'm giving you way too much theory right now.
Okay, this is probably like the first replay I want to look at.
Okay. Yeah, I was just thinking to myself, I'm like, there's like a full like 30-minute explanation I want to give you right now about what I just said about like the resource checking and what it means. But then I was like, yeah, I don't think anyone at Diamond 3 really is relevant with this anyways. So this is something that really applies to like masters. Like it will eventually apply to you. It is really fucking important, but let's just break it down in a really easy way. We don't need to make it so technical. You're looking for the replay right now, right? Or did you put it in the stream's Discord?
I put it in the stream Discord.
Oh, okay. I think I'm gonna put it in the private one. One sec. In SC2 replays? Okay, yeah. Got you. All right. Okay, so I'm gonna share my stream with you, so you can just see it through Discord. So it's instantaneous. So you can see what I'm looking at when I talk about it. You should be able to see it now. Let me know if you can see it, just so I know you're not getting screwed here.
Yep, I see it.
Okay, cool. All right, so let's see what's going on with you. Actually, take that away. Take that away. We'll play this, or we'll watch this as if we're watching you play your perspective. So we'll use the information that you scout with, not what a fucking observer interface says. So far, you're fine. Nice pull on your drone. It was well timed. You're gonna get there perfectly. That was really good. Nice. Your build's fine so far. The only thing I would say differently, it was not a huge deal, but this is a good overlord placement for Protoss and for Terran. Actually, not so much for Terran. This is a good overlord placement for Protoss, because you could easily, like, it doesn't have to be exactly here, by the way, but against Protoss, you could see that you just see the entrance of the ramp, and if a probe moves anywhere in your base, you can follow it, easy peasy, and you're good to go. Against Terran, you'd probably want to be maybe like right there, because if the Terran proxy racks to you, you'd want to have quick access to the cliff there to hide your overlord so it doesn't die, but you still see the ramp. Against Zerg, you want your overlord probably like right there. You want it more in the front, because you're not really giving yourself as much of a warning if this guy does a 12 pull run around the fucking map against you, because it's 1:42 on the clock right now, and If this guy ran across the map immediately, he would cross your overlord by probably like where, if we go back in time, okay? He would be crossing your overlord, honestly, right about like now with lings. If this was like a 12 pool. Like right, like anywhere like within a second of this, like second or two of this, like right now, you'd be seeing lings running to your base. But your overlord isn't fast enough. This is just how it is. 12 pools are faster than overlords in terms of getting to this area right here, okay? So this guy could 100% run lings up or down out of range of your overlord, and you won't even know it's happening until later. I don't know if you've ever had that happen to you yet so far, where somebody 12 pulls you and decides to run around and then go to your base, not just go straight through the middle. Sometimes people do shit like that to try and like be concealing their fucking cheese. But if you actually think about it logically in ZvZ, if you want to have the quickest, most highest percent chance to defend it with the best reaction possible, if you put your overlord like right there instead, you have an extra like 3 to 4 seconds to react, because your vision will be to the edge of that ramp, like over here to the middle of this area, pretty fucking far out, and over here as well, like pretty far out this way. Like you'll just have more time to react to lings if they come towards your base, which gives you more time to not make a mistake with your larva. If you were to like not be saving larva and instead you fucked it up and you're like, oh, let's make drones. Oh wait, shit, we're getting 12 pooled. So does that make sense? Just put your overlord a little bit further forward against Zerg, because there's no reason to leave it at your natural. Otherwise, you're doing fine.
Yeah.
So far. Okay. So, I mean, your guys' bases look almost identical. And so I'm actually going to ask you a question, okay? These are things you got to understand. What do you think that this right here means? Like, what are you scouting right now? What do you think this is?
It's a hatch first.
Okay. And I'm going to ask you a question. I'm not going to expect you to, there's two parts to this. I don't expect you to know the second one. We'll talk about it though. But give me one reason why you think it's hatch first.
I went hatch first for my build, and it looks almost exactly the same timing.
Okay. Yeah, good. Correct. Good job. You're right. Correct. Now, if this overlord wasn't here, pretend that this, so another reason why, all right, I'm not gonna ask you this question. I'm just gonna tell you, okay? Because like I just said, I don't expect you to know it, but it's kind of advanced, but it's actually something you should fucking know. If this overlord was not here, okay, and you never saw it crossing with your first overlord, never saw two overlords crossing, and again, this comes from minimap awareness. You need to kind of pay attention to how many overlords cross your overlord, because not everyone leaves their overlord like this. I think it's better to do this in ZvZ because it helps with 12 pools, like we just said, about having a reaction to it. But if your opponent does not make a second overlord, they 100% can go for a pool into a hatchery that looks just like this. But the difference is they have less drones with a faster gas in a pool. And they'll do a speedling timing that will kill you really early. And the way you can tell that they're doing that is that they don't have a second overlord, because they can't afford it. So if somebody has two overlords, they went hatch first. So if you ever confirm the second overlord really early, like what you have, it's hatch first. But if you don't see second overlord and you never saw it cross either, be wary. Like be fucking like ready to be like, okay, well, this guy's speed could be finishing a lot sooner than normal now, and I probably gotta get this fucking wall filled in here with evo chambers or something, because otherwise I'm gonna fucking die. Like that, literally.
I think that exactly happened to me in another game.
Yeah, I mean, it happened to me literally yesterday against another Zerg. So it happens all the time, so it's something that is very relevant that you should know. Okay, let's see. I want to see what you do with the overlord. I do not like what you're doing with the overlord. You're moving way too fucking far away from the ramp. I want there to be like a red flag or like a fucking doomsday alarm that sounds in your brain if you ever let any of the fucking ramp go into fog of war. You never let this happen, ever. If you ever let part of the ramp go into fog of war, the only reason why that is ever acceptable is because you have more overlords that are going to cover the other side. So if this overlord moved away like this, where it is right now, okay, if your overlord does that, You are now blind to this going down to here. You are blind to this going through here into this area. The only way I would ever say this is okay, and you're also blind, to be fair, to this going up and around the mineral line and going up. If you had, and the funny thing is, you're even, like, this is the worst overlord place you could ever put for one overlord, because you're also even blind to if you went up, to the right, down, and through here. Like, this is also a blind spot. And I don't expect a Zerg player to straight up run down, like down the ramp, up, around the mineral line, over, down, over to the right here. No one's really going to fucking do that. Let's be real. That's not going to happen. But the fact that you don't have alerts on your minimap showing you what fucking exits your opponent is taking is a problem. So if your overlord hangs right really hard like this, you now have, the only way this would ever be okay is if you had an overlord covering this ramp and an overlord covering this ramp. This is a big reason why you have problems with your scouting about all-ins if you do overlord placement like this. This is fucking not good. What should be happening for you instead is this overlord should be sitting like right there. Like right there. The reason why it's sitting right there is because the edge of the vision of your overlord is covering the edges of the ramp. Like, there is no way a Zergling could get out of this ramp without you seeing it. Or any unit for that matter. That is a huge problem for you. Never, ever, 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 ever do that.
Okay, makes sense.
A new queen has emerged.
Okay. And now you're making drones with a third queen in a layer. And so I want you to start doing something as well. I want you to have we're going to teach you a method of scouting, okay? So it's kind of what I just said a second ago, but I want you to imagine that, like, I'm going to use an analogy for you here, okay? Imagine that the map is like a sandbox, and your opponent's base is where you're going to have like a big bucket of water, and you're going to pour this bucket of water into the sandbox right here at his base. And the sandbox has terrain differentiation. It has like de-elevation, what's the fucking, is that a right word? De-elevation? I don't even know. This is elevated, but what is this? Like lowered? I don't fucking know. But you know what I mean though. Like if you were to pour water right here, it would fill up and then it would pour down the ramp. If this would fill up, it would pour down the ramp, right? So the point I'm trying to make here is if you were to pour water out of his fucking ramp here, are you going to see every direction it goes? And if you're not, how many overlords need to accomplish that? And I would say 1, 2, 3. Okay. You really need 3, or you could have 1 in the front, but it's okay to eventually pull your overlord back if this guy starts spreading creep, because I do not expect you to have an overlord sitting on top of fucking creep spread, because it's just going to die. So if you see, and that's like the water pouring out of his base. So if you see the fucking Zerg opponent starting to like pour out of his fucking base here down the ramp and everything, you are more than welcome to back your overlord up so you're no longer watching the edges of the ramp here. But if that happens, you need to cover the fucking other areas. So a 1 overlord spotter here needs to become 3, and if you back that up, you know, maybe it becomes 4 or 5 if need be. But at that point, realistically, it's not going to happen because the early game is already kind of established, and now you don't really ever need 5, okay? I don't want to make that confusing. You really don't ever fucking need 5 overlords scouting his base in a semicircle, because by then you're going to be like at 7 minutes in the game, and you're already making army anyways, and all your overlords are going to fucking die if you have too many over there. So 3 is like maximum, okay? So 1 can become 3 if you have to back up and look at other ramps. Now, what I want you to do, this is really important, mirror what you do on his side on your side. So if you have an overlord right there at his base, you have an overlord right here at your base. Because what are you doing right here at his base? You're spotting for Ling run-bys. You're spotting for if he walks out of his base for attacks. And if you have overlords in the exact same spots at your location of your base, what are you doing there? You're spotting for Baneling attack locations. You're spotting for setup of your opponent's attacks. You're spotting where he's moving his units, so you can always have your units in the correct spot at the right time. Having all your overlords in your fucking main base having a powwow is actually the biggest waste. This is awful for you. This is not good. This doesn't do anything for you right now. So definitely need to work on that. So if you put 3 overlords at his base, you need to put 3 overlords in a mirrored location at your base. Like, always put an overlord in front of your bases too. So you could have an overlord like right here for yourself, like right here for yourself, and like right here for yourself. And let's say you take this third, just move this overlord to like right there. So you can again spot in front of your bases.
You made another queen.
Also, you've kind of fucked your wall already. So this is why you're having a problem walling, by the way.
Yeah.
I am going to give you a visual example of this later. I'm not going to go into it right now. I think teaching you the visuals will be easier. We'll talk about this later, but your wall definitely sucks ass. I don't like it. The biggest reason why it's a problem is because you're not making the... So this is something you gotta learn, okay? This is a rule of making a good wall for beginners or for people who are struggling with walls. If your fucking name is Zest and you've made 25,000 walls on a map and you have memorized the fucking geometry of the layout every single time in every single format, then you can do whatever the hell you want. But if you're kind of freeballing it every single time you make a wall, you need to follow this one rule. And that rule is making your doorway off of your first 2 buildings. And there's no doorway here. So if you make a doorway off your first 2 buildings, it makes making a wall 1,000 times easier. Your doorway now is totally fucked though if you make a doorway like this, because it's going to be like a humongous fucking gap. Like there's so much surface area on your buildings now, and it's just a problem. Yeah, I'm so fucking scared for you about your lack of vision here. You're like asking for this queen to die right now. How you doing, Zager? What are you thinking?
No, just digesting.
Okay, I'm just checking on you. You're like, fuck you, vibe. I hate you. Yeah, like this wall, yuck. It's a yuck, dude. Absolutely disgusting. Because that's such a big gap for your doorway. Like, it's just... I know you can put a unit there to wall it off, but like, there is so much fucking surface area that can be utilized here and like bunched up on you. And this also, this Evo chamber has so much surface area to be attacked on as well now. And now you're back...
Could you...
Oh, go ahead, sorry. What's up?
Could you put a unit at the corner of the ramp, between the corner of the ramp and the Evo chamber? Is that a...
You're talking about like right there?
Yeah.
Way too large.
Way too large, okay.
Like that... Basically, if you do a wall proper, only 1 ling at a time should be able to attack you, and if the guy micros it a little bit, 2 can... If the guy actually like squeezes them in there, he could fit 2 in. That's a perfect wall. That's how it's supposed to work. If you put a wall like this, where the green box is right now, and that's where you put your unit, the liability for lings to squeeze through the side of you on either side is really high. So you might just have lings flood your base anyways, because that's a really large gap to cover there with 1 unit. It's way too fucking big. And even if you did somehow have a queen, like let's say your opponent didn't even try to squeeze by, and like get a queen there, I guarantee you 4 lings at a time could attack that queen. And if we're talking about the amount of time a queen is going to stay alive when only 1 or 2 lings at a time is attacking it, as opposed to 4, that queen is going to last so much fucking longer in a proper wall versus getting just slammed by 4 lings at a time. And that just means that you're not going to have as much DPS uptime yourself because your queen's going to die. So you're going to delete less of his lings that should be getting deleted. And he'll have a scarier attack that's going to keep being there and keep killing you. It's gonna like snowball in his favor, not in your favor.
Right. Okay. Makes sense.
I actually want to. Okay, I'm gonna pause this really fast. I want to ask you a question. Okay, we're gonna go through this replay. I'm gonna talk about your gameplay, but I want to ask you one of two questions. Would you rather focus more on your mid game, or would you rather focus more on your all-in defense?
I think maybe the mid game. It's more versatile.
Okay. So I just want you to know that if we focus on your mid game, you absolutely need to fix your overlords, though, in the future. If your overlords are like what they are this game, you're not going to have a mid game. Like this, if you played this way, you don't belong in Diamond League. I'm not even kidding. Like with overlords like this, yeah, everyone's going to kill you. Like you will get literally knocked out of Diamond if you don't fix that. But it's not hard to fix it either. I'm not like, oh my god, you're never going to make it. Like, if you just do what I said about overlords, it's so fucking easily fixable because it's nothing hard about that. You just go overlord, walk over there, or fly over there. Cool, we just did it. It's super fixable, and then if you do fix it, you're so much better off. You will be so much better off about actually having awareness. Because right now you have 0 awareness, which is super scary for you.
We evolved.
Right.
Stuff got better.
Like, that is a humongous problem. Like right now, you didn't even know the search attack was coming until it got to your fucking face here.
Yeah.
And you just, by chance, had units. It's not... So, I want you to know this, okay? ZvZ, this is a fact, okay? So, you've been playing Beta GM this whole time, and that's totally fine. But Beta GM concepts change once you get to Diamond League. Because, for lack of a better way to explain this, once players get into Diamond League, their head gets dislodged out of their asshole a little bit. Okay? But players in Platinum and below have their head shoved so fucking far up their own ass that common concepts don't matter. I'm not even fucking kidding. It's just follow a fucking recipe to StarCraft and you be a winner. That's kind of... Is your mechanics good enough to do it? That's really what it is at lower leagues. But now that you're in Diamond Plus, okay, you have to have some fucking awareness, and you have to have some type of game reaction. Not every game is going to be the same. If you think you can make every single game exactly identical to every other game you play in Diamond Plus, you can't. So I want you to break that mindset, because that is the mindset of Platinum and below, which is 100% fair. That's what it should be, Platinum and below. But once you get to Diamond League, you have to understand that you can't just do the same thing every game economically and expect it to work. You have to have some sense of scouting and some sense of awareness. So if you, from now on, just do the overlord thing I said, like for the 4th time I've said it now, do that. And also, to reiterate one more time on something I said earlier, just say it 2nd time now, make a fucking overseer as soon as you get a lair and scout his base with it. And try your best to make a proper reaction, not based off his army. Do not make it based off of his army, okay? That's not how you read a game. You read a game based off of his economy. Now I want to show you something. I want to show you something right here really fast, okay? So, I want you to look at units right now. You have... Go back a little bit further. Okay, this is fine right here. This is whatever. Right now, you have 8 roaches, right? You made your 8 roaches because these are your safety roaches, which is totally fine.
Mm-hmm.
And you've had a layer for a while. You started this upgrade 61 seconds ago, and you can't even make this upgrade until you have a layer. Getting an overseer only takes 12 seconds. So you could have easily made an overlord into an overseer and scouted through his base quite a bit in the last full fucking minute of the game, for sure. Okay? Now I want to show you something. And that is, let's compare main base to main base. That's what your main base looks like. You have a bunch of drones, fully saturated, and 3 drones on gas. He has double gas saturated and a bunch of drones on minerals. Now let's go to your natural. Fully saturated, and let's go to his natural. Fully saturated. Now let's go to your 3rd base. Exists. It's no drones yet, but your 3rd base exists. Let's go to his 3rd base. Nothing. And nothing. So... automatically, What this means is you are now in the more economical standpoint than your opponent is. Okay? And when that happens, when you're the one who's investing more into economy than your opponent, you're more likely going to be getting attacked by your opponent. Now, here's another thing to look at. Okay, this is a huge fucking detail. So, this is your main base. We just looked at it. This is your natural. We just looked at it. This is his natural. This is his main base. Now, that is a fucking sign of aggression. Okay? So, if I were you, the way I would read this game for you would be, this guy already has a third hatchery with a third queen at it, and you don't even have a third hatchery yet. And you do have a third queen, or wherever the fuck that queen is. There it is. But you're not injecting yet. So this guy is going to have a larva advantage with an economical disadvantage over time. He actually has an economic, and the funny thing is he actually has an economic advantage over you right now because he has all 4 gases and you only have 3. So he has more resources currently coming into his economy just by a little bit. But he has a third hatchery that was started really early, which means that this guy is probably going to get super fucking aggressive. Okay? It's generally speaking what this is going to mean. So I hope that makes sense with that. Like that's something that would be hugely obvious there because it's a macro hatch. It has nothing to do with the mineral line. And this guy clearly does not need a macro hatch for drones right now because you're fucking fully saturated and so is he. And you don't even have a macro hatch. So it's not making drones. It's making units. So if he's making units, that is a clear sign that you need to make fucking units to defend yourself. Because if you don't, you're going to die. That's where game sense and awareness comes in. And you have to fucking scout. Because players in Diamond are going to play to at least a level of a degree that is not horrible. They're going to be able to kill you and punish you if you don't somewhat react to their build. The funny thing about Platinum and Below is, and sorry if you're a Platinum and Below player, anyone out there that hears this, it's fucking true, but don't take offense to it. It's just a fact, though. You don't actually have to react to anyone who's in Platinum or Below's aggression because it's so bad that it can't kill you anyways if you just play economically, mechanically good. You can literally kill all their aggression even though you're not even preparing for it because they just don't have the mechanics. So you have, but again, Diamond Plus is when it starts happening though. You have to fucking react to something like that. And now if we look at your build here, what you're building, it should be roaches and you're making drones, right? It's because you have no idea what's going on right now. You literally don't know what's going on. So you're going to get fucking owned here. All these drones that you just made should die. And then you're just wasting larvae essentially at that point. And then if you're wasting larvae, you're kind of getting yourself in a position where you could throw the game in the trash.
Mutation complete.
So, I mean, and this is, yeah, I mean, this, like, it's not like a hard switch where it's like, oh, players in Plat aren't very good at mechanics, and then suddenly players in Diamond are like GSL players. It's not quite like that either, because as you can see, this guy has fucking 10 larvae sitting there while he's trying to attack. He's literally not macroing. He is not multitasking. But if he did, you should be dead right now. There's zero way you can fucking hold this. If this guy has a larva advantage on you by having a third macro hatch so fast, and he's flooding roaches to attack you, and to respond to that, you make fucking 9 drones, which is a full round of inject of 3 bases. Because it's 3 larvae per inject, right? So,
Okay.
Does that make sense so far, what we're talking about? This is literally ZvZ in a nutshell, though.
Yeah.
Like, you have to fucking react. You absolutely need to work on your scouting. You need to work on your game awareness, your game sense, like your minimap awareness and shit like that. And you absolutely need to work on the actual fact that you're going to fucking scout somebody. The days of you not scouting and expecting to win are over if you're going to be Diamond Plus now. You could get away with it in Platinum, but you cannot get away with this in Diamond. You have to fucking scout. Yeah, the fact that you're pressuring him right now legit doesn't make sense. It's just that this guy is playing poor. Like, this guy is playing very poorly. That should never be happening. The way he set up his build should have killed you right there. Or should have not killed you entirely, but broken your third with how you responded to it. Hold on, I want to go back for a second now. I want to go back right before. I want to watch your decision making as well after you push him away the first time. Yo, Hobo Wizards, thank you again for the 500 bits, dude. Much love, man. Okay, so you push him away right now. Production-wise, you're making roaches and a carapace upgrade. You watch him make ravagers here. And then you oversight it, and okay, I was about to say, that's the worst idea you could do because it could get curse of wild. But then you move your overseer away from him. But this is, I want, like, if I were playing this game, well, I'm not going to ask you what you would do or anything like that here. I'm just going to tell you how I would feel if this was me. If I were in your perspective right now, if I was in your position, the thing that would bother me the most is not knowing how many bases this guy's on and how his economy looks. I can already assume, based on this, come on. So, this is where the assumption comes from. Assuming both of you can macro well enough to not be like just fucking AFK, essentially. You're both good at macro. Let's assume that you're both really good at macro, okay? Mm-hmm. His army looks somewhat similar to your army, like to a degree. Like the amount of units you have is similar to the amount of units that he has right here. Okay? He does have Ravagers and you don't have Ravagers. That is a difference. But the amount of total supply invested is very similar to the total supply you have invested as well in terms of roaches. So there's not the biggest discrepancy yet. However, I would really want to know if this guy has a third base or if he does not have a third base. And if he does have a third base, what fucking resources he's prioritizing at that third base. Is this, because for instance, here's an example. If I were to ask you right now, what do you think this guy's going to do? And if you go, oh, he's going to go Roach Ravagers. And I go, how do you know that? And then you say, because I see it. I'll be like, okay, yeah, good job. That's correct. You see Roach Ravager, so you assume he's going Roach Ravager because it's physically happening. That is correct. But then if I asked you, what is he going to do 2 minutes from now? And you go, Roach Ravager? I'll be like, how do you know that? And you'll go, because he's making it now. And then I would say, that doesn't, just because he's making it now, doesn't mean he's going to do it 2 minutes from now. And then you know, then that's where this is why if I were in your shoes, the fucking first thing I would do right now with the servers here is figure out what the fuck he's going to do 2 minutes from now. And how do you know that? Economic investments. Does this exist? Nope. Does this exist? Nope. So if you said, what is he going to do 2 minutes from now? Roach Ravager. I would say there's a high probability that that's going to be the case. That is actually correct. Because this guy has no fucking third base. Like, he's legit all-inning you. Like, this guy is committed right now. Does he have to go Roach Ravager, though? No. This guy could absolutely be like, you do a curveball. I'm going to make, like, 5 Ravagers and stop. I'll make, like, 20 Roaches and stop. And then I'll just start stockpiling Zerglings with Aspire. And then I'll just do this random fucking, like, 10 muta switch with, like, fucking 60 Zerglings. If he wanted to, at some point. Totally could do that, too, if he wanted to. But you don't know anything that's going on here because you have no scout at all. So that's like humongous problem for you because you're playing the guessing game, and that's only going to get you so far in StarCraft. It's not going to get you that far. You have to have some type of educated guessing going on with like actual information. But right now you're still just making roaches. Because you saw that he was making Ravagers, and he decides to attack you. And at this point now, clearly you should be making Roaches, because you're fighting him at your base. And now he looks like he is going to break you here. That was close. I mean, you held on, but you held on, but you did lose all of your fucking drones at your third base, and you lost your queen at your third base, and you almost lost the third base. So good job by holding on, but that was fucking sloppy, right? That was like, oh god, that felt painful. You definitely took a lot of losses there. That didn't necessarily need to happen if you, again, scouted and you predicted what was happening before it happened through educated information. Now behind this, you went for, now here's something you need to know as well, okay? You went for 1-1 upgrades. This is something that I didn't really, I don't know how many times I touched on this in Beta GM. I'm sure I probably said it at least once, but probably not. I did not say it every game. But this is something you need to understand, because the reason why I'm telling you this is because you're making Zerglings right now, and that is the worst fucking thing in the world you could be doing. Do not get Carapace if you're going to stay on 3 gases while you're getting heavily attacked. Just get weapons and roaches. If you have a gas problem and you can't make roaches and you're being forced to make lings, you're going to lose the game. These lings are not, they're already not the greatest straight up, like larva efficiency wise. Lings are really good in low amounts of larvae versus low amounts of roaches. Like four lings is the equivalent to 1 roach in terms of supply, but only 2 lings is equivalent to 1 roach in terms of larva. And here's the problem that you're going to have with lings right now. Neither one of you is having a problem with your larva. You're both able to spend all of your larvae regardless of what you're fucking making. Doesn't matter if it's lings or roaches, you both have way more than enough fucking money to make either one of those units. Okay, so even though roaches are more expensive, you can easily afford it. So the supply doesn't even matter anymore. It just comes down to larva now, okay? Oh, larva is the only thing that matters because money is not an issue. So if we're talking about 2 lings to every roach here, the lings are going to get bad trades even before upgrades. And now that your opponent also has level 1 weapon upgrades, your lings are going to get even fucking worse trades now because they're just going to get shit on even harder. Now, luckily for you, I mean, you did have a Carapace upgrade, which is actually going to change the fucking dynamic of your lings again. Again, we're getting a little complicated here, but basically, long story short, when a roach has a weapon upgrade, it's supposed to 2-shot a ling instead of 3-shotting it. But because you have a Carapace upgrade, it's going to 3-shot it again, because if we talk about math here, a ling has 35 health, a roach has 18 damage with a weapon upgrade. But if you put an armor upgrade on that, it takes off 1 damage. So it makes it 17 instead of 18. And 17 times 2 is only 34, not 35. So a roach still takes 3 shots to kill a ling. That's the math there. But so it's not actually going to change yet about how bad lings are in terms of the upgrade. It's only, but if this guy gets level 2 upgrades, it's going to once again 2-shot lings, which is going to make lings even fucking worse. But by default, lings are fucking bad here. The last thing in the world you want to be making is lings, because you're like, oh, I don't have enough gas. Like, Carapace upgrade plus lings is worse than just no Carapace upgrade mass roaches. This is the point I'm trying to make here. So, don't get fucking Carapace. If you, and I'm going to ask you a question now. I'm going to quiz you for a second. When are you not going to get Carapace upgrade? I know I talked a lot, and if you don't get it right, it's totally fine. But I'll say it in a more simple way if you don't get it right.
When I'm being pressured on 3 gases by roaches.
Okay, so mostly right. It doesn't matter how many gases your opponent has, more or less. Like if he has 4 or 3, it doesn't matter. But if your opponent's being highly aggressive, you need to not go Carapace if you are on 3 gases.
Right.
And you being on 3 gases is totally okay, because the benefit of that is less gas investment, more mineral investment, which means you can saturate your third faster as soon as you have time to do that. You have more money to make that shit happen, which is fine. Also, another thing that goes in line with not taking your Carapace when you're getting highly pressured, when you're having to defend yourself, don't fucking make a Hydra Den. That's 100 gas, again, that you cannot afford right now. and you're not even making the hydras yet, nor should you, and you're not getting the upgrades yet, nor should you, because you can't afford that shit right now. This building is designed for like 6 gases, not for 3, while making roaches as well. And the second evo here is designed as well for more gases than 3. It's designed for a build that you've managed to get your economy off the ground and you're feeling good. You're like, you got a good economy going. Now you can afford upgrades that's more than just weapons. You're totally okay though to still go to level 2 weapons, even on 3 gas. Because like you're making lings also that don't even have speed, which is even worse. And now you're also investing into speed. You've like this. You're literally gonna. The next attack is gonna kill you. You're gonna die now. These lings are not worth it at all. They're so fucking bad per larva. Like watch what these lings accomplish here. So the best things, like I would say your broodlings probably did just as much as your lings did there, because all they did was they took some auto attacks from your opponent's roaches until they died, and then now they're dead. And then even though they all died and bought you some time for some other auto attacks, you just straight up don't have enough roaches to overpower his roaches. So he kills all your broodlings, he kills all your zerglings, and he still has enough roaches and ravagers to kill your roaches now. And then if you really think about it, why is this happening? Why is this the case right now? Look at this again. So we're gonna go back to one more thing that was really relevant one more time. Right there. 9 drones right now. You make 9 drones. Saturate your third base. You get attacked because your opponent's on 3 hatches with a macro hatch. He kills all your fucking drones in a second here. He comes back and pressures you. Your units die. All your drones die. Every fucking drone dies, right? And you still have not scouted your opponent's base at all yet. And then you make drones again. And your opponent still has not taken a third base yet. It's not the time to make drones. And that's why you break right now. You break because not only did you make lings, which are literally a waste of your larva, but you made drones as well, again. Like, if you killed his entire army, so like, it sounds weird, right? Because I know I've talked about drone windows before, and I always say, oh, if you kill your opponent's army, that's a drone window. Make drones. But you don't really have a drone window if your opponent also kills your entire army at the same time. So, and that's what's happening to you. You're literally like, you're both deleting each other entirely. And then he's just remaking an army and you're making a round of drones and then trying to make an army. And now your drones are the same exact thing as last time. They're compromised and they're gonna fucking die or evacuate or whatever. Yeah, you definitely gotta, the biggest thing I can tell you seriously is you gotta definitely fix your scouting, man. Like, it's by far your biggest weakness as a player right now. You just don't have it. And the fact that he also made lings is really bad. Neither one of you should be making lings right now. You both have plenty. The only time you should ever be making lings for either one of you is if you're on like a hatchery based attack, not a layer. The second you have roach speed and upgrades for roaches, lings are like just fucking not worth it. They're worth like 1/3 the like efficiency of a roach with larva. Like they're so fucking bad. The only time a ling would ever be worth it is if you somehow caught like a run by and killed a queen and some drones, or if you turned some of them into banelings and did like a run by and blew up a bunch of drones with like a little bit of larva. Like if you could somehow do something like that, it would be justified. But if you're gonna use it in your army like this to attack for either one of you, it's just a fucking waste of your larva. Seriously. It's so bad.
The mineral Mineral field depleted. You're fortunate.
Huh? Sorry.
I think I tap out around.
Oh no, you're definitely dead. I can tell you're dead right now.
Okay.
You just don't have enough. You don't have any money to keep up with him anymore. Like he doesn't have money either. That was just the funny thing. He fucking all-ined you the entire time. But like you guys are starting to run out of money, and you're also compromised, and this is now becoming like a snowball effect where he just has more than you, and you can't beat what he has if you're just gonna keep making the same thing anyways. Like way less roaches don't suddenly just beat more roaches by making you're both just making roaches. You'd have to have like lurkers right now or mutas right now or something that's cost efficient. You're definitely dead. So everything we talk about this game, do you have any questions and does things make sense?
Yeah, the only question I would have, I think, is like what you were saying about the overlords placement and mirroring them on my side of the map. Does that only apply to ZvZ or like
Yes.
should I be doing
It's
that for
ZvZ
all
only.
the matches?
ZvZ only.
ZvZ only.
Because if you do it in all matchups, you're gonna get killed by fucking Stalker and Marine like crazy. You're just gonna like lose all your overlords.
Got it.
But ZvZ can't do that because ZvZ has only Queen and Ravager early, and you can actually, if you're paying attention, you can dodge Ravager shots with an Overlord and keep, in theory, keep an Overlord alive for like ever, if you're good at dodging. Like if you're good at just moving it when you're, oh, he's got a Ravager right there. He shoots a bile, you move out of the way, it lands by the time you moved out of the way. And then if it's a Queen, you just fly away from a Queen because you don't let creep get under you. You see the Queen starting to walk towards your Overlord, and you just fly away from it. Even though a Queen slowly walks faster than an Overlord flies to keep attacking you, you can always fly over terrain. Like you can fly the Overlord like this way, and now this becomes a blocker for the Queen where the Queen has to walk around it and fucking do something stupid. Or you fly over a cliff, or you fly over a cliff, or you fly over a cliff, right? Like there's so many things you can do to get your Overlords away from Queens. So Queens, like, even though they might try to kill Overlords every once in a while, it's not even going to happen right away either. Like, no one's going to fucking make their first Queen inject and then walk out and start hunting Overlords. It's just not going to happen. And even if they did do that, that person is opening themselves up to, like, getting that Queen fucking sniped by a bunch of Speedlings. And there's always a threat of Speedlings in ZvZ, so no one's really going to fucking do that. It's just not practical in ZvZ. So having Overlord spread in ZvZ is 100% mandatory. Because they're not going to get punished, and that vision is like right now I feel like you probably don't appreciate the vision that how important that vision is, but once you actually play a few games and win based off the fact that you spotted everything before it happened and you were able to deal with it, it's going to change your entire perspective on how fucking necessary and important that is in ZvZ. Any other questions about this game?
No.
Okay. So ultimately, again, just for a little quick recap here, your biggest weakness that you need to work on absolutely now is your scouting. And try to make good reactions. I can't really give you every one of them because there's a lot you could do. Okay. There's like fucking hundreds of reactions you can have. Based on what your opponent is doing. Like the amount of times you're going to see a third macro hatch in your opponent's main going mass roaches like this is going to probably be 1 out of every 30 fucking ZvZs you're going to play. This is not a super common build. But this is, you should be able to see this and go, this is a super aggressive build though. That's fucking incredibly aggressive. And you need to be able to control your area of the map before you make drones. Especially if his third base was down way before yours. You're at a, so the reason why that makes sense is you're at a larva disadvantage there. Like you don't have as much larva as he does there. But there's advantages that you have, which is ideally, like if your opponent takes, think about it like this, okay? Let's just hypothetically say you took your third base the second you could take it while spinning your larva perfectly. Okay? That's it. So your macro is flawless. Let's just hypothetically say that that's the case. And his hatchery is done, and your hatchery is at 10%. What did he do to get that hatchery down so fast? What would you think, right? And it would be, he cut larva to make that faster. So he hiccuped. Why am I saying that so weird? He hiccuped his build economically to make a third base super fast. So his economical standpoint is not as good as yours already, by just a little bit, not like massively, just a little bit. But his larva is going to be more powerful than yours. And like I said before, if all you're going to do is make roaches, you can easily fucking afford it. Roaches are not expensive. So if that's the case, where you're like, okay, yeah, this guy's going for a third base. He's cutting drones for a second and going back into drones again, but he's getting a really quick third hatchery from macro hatch. He's going to have a crazy roach flood. I have a little bit of an economic advantage, but also I have defender's advantage because he has to cross the map, whereas I'm just going to defend my base. So if I just make roaches now to deal with it, as soon as I'm able to hold my own here and like, you know, not die, you can make drones. But if you make drones before that, your chances of dying now, all they do is go up. And your thirds are probably going to break. That is yeah. ZvZ is so fucking important about playing proper reactions. ZVT, I'm not going to lie, you can be fucking monkey brain in ZVT and just be like, I do build order. And then you fucking win lots of games. As long as your mechanics are good. But in ZvZ, the amount of momentum that Zerg has when they can just flip the switch and all in you, you need to respect that. And you need to be able to scout and react to that. So that's something you need to work on in ZvZ. You have to fucking scout. Any other questions so far?
Nope.
Okay, so I think what I'm going to do now is I'm going to show you how to wall properly. And are you actually online right now?
Yeah.
I'll give you a little bonus here. I think I'm gonna. Does this sound good to you? Tell me if this sounds good. I want you to all in me with a bunch of speedlings, and I am not going to make anything but drones and queens. I'm not going to make a single zergling, and nothing. I'm just going to make drones and queens, and I want to show you how to plug a fucking wall and defend yourself.
Okay.
And I'm also going to do this with overlord placement.
Okay.
All right. Yeah, boy. Yeah, boy. Yeah, boy. What fucking map were you playing on just a second ago?
One of the new ones. I forget the name.
Yeah, I feel like I'm like, what the hell map was it? I don't even know, dude. I'm crazy. We'll just do this one. Was it this one? It wasn't this one. I don't even fucking know. It doesn't matter. We'll just do this one. Okay. Are you online right now?
Yeah, I'm I just logged in to start.
Okay. Just join channel Vibu, and then I'll invite you that way. Super easy peasy. Vibu? Vibe, would making a spine be relevant at your third base and at the wall be relevant if you scout this? No, you don't need a spine. The only reason why you would ever need a spine is if you just made drones and you were like, oh fuck, no, I made drones. Uh-oh, I'm gonna die. Make spine. That would be okay. But it should be like not your first go-to. If you're playing perfectly, you should be roaches. But making a spine because you made a mistake is a way to fix and correct the mistake. Like, to a degree. My god, Hobo Wizazar, thank you for the 5,000 bits.
Catch.
Thank you, dude. Thank you very much, dude. That's a crazy bit drop. You're a crazy man. Alright, so this is all I want you to do, Zogger, okay? And if you forget the build order or anything like that, it's totally fine. Feel free to ask me. It's not a big deal. We'll just do a super simple speedling expand all in, okay? So all you're gonna do, and you'll be all inning me, and I'll show you how to wall your base and shit, and you know you'll have a replay for it. But all you're gonna do is you're gonna go for a 16 hatch, an 18 gas, and a 17 pool, super standard build order. Get get Zergling speed, and then take all 3 drones off gas. And as soon as you have 19 drones, literally don't make another drone ever again. So you stop saturating your drones at 1 base saturation and just fucking make lings. Just nonstop make lings. And then as soon as you get speed, literally plow my base with it. And then just keep making lings and macroing out lings as much as you can and try to break me. With just lings. And I'm going to do exactly what your build order was with Beta GM. And then I'll show you how you can defend this with literally nothing but Evo Chambers and Queens. It's
double Queen for injects?
Yeah. Just it's 2 Queens injects, 1 base saturation with gas. As soon as gas is done with 100, take it off gas and just pure minerals and links. That's it. And make overlords as you need. Like, don't go crazy on it. Just make like a couple here and there. Because you're going to be losing supply too, right? As your lings start to die, you'll just be replacing. So you're probably going to want to only go up to like maybe 50 total supply. Because you're never going to go above that, really, if you're constantly attacking. Makes sense? Anything confusing?
Nope.
Okay. All right. You ready?
Yep.
All right. So just all in the shit out of me. And I'm going to play that. I'm not going to hard counter you. I'm not going to react to this before it happens. I'm only going to react to it the second I fucking see it actually in the game. As if this was a real game. So I'm not going to like pretend like, all right, this is how you defend it when you fucking know what's happening. Like I'm actually going to react to it properly. And remember, 16 hatch, 18 gas, 17 pool, okay? All right. Okay. And then remember, don't forget to take off all 3 of your drones off gas once you have speed started. And then just never make anything but overlords and lings. And 2 queens. Don't you keep 1 drone on gas? This is an example of how to defend an all-in. It has nothing to do with the standard build.
Queen birth successful.
I won't kill your overlord. Just gonna get out of my base. I won't kill it. It would die right now though if you did that. But it's fine. I'm not gonna kill it. Okay, so I see you leaving your base right now. Because the overlord was in a good spot to see that. So now I have to make a full wall here. And I'm still making drones. And now I'll pull my queen from my main down to my natural after an inject as I see you. still cranking out your fucking your lings over there. I see it because I'm watching the minimap and I see, oh, repeated waves of lings are constantly attacking towards my base. So now I see where you're attacking my wall from. Yeah, there's a nice spot right there being attacked. Okay. And then you I would say try to break the walls as hard as you can. The longer you wait, the more likely you're gonna die.
Enemy assaulting drones.
Okay. Just be really quick about rebuilding your wall all the time.
Drones under attack.
I mean, I kind of fucked this up to be fair. Like, I don't know why I let you break my wall, but it's still fine, actually. It's okay. We're doing great. Things are looking great. Because drones, as long as you rebuild the wall, drones and queens are actually surprisingly strong. And we're looking great. I still have a really high economy.
Hive cluster under direct assault.
And now you're still coming. So we just got to keep building more wall. It's all good. Build another wall. Here's a clever way you can do it too. If you're like, if you find that it's really hard to, you have to just like think about creative ways to like let it be walled. Like, see what we just did right there? I can't actually fit an Evo chamber on the side of the gas, so I instead put my queen in the fucking patch there and made a new Evo chamber up north of that.
Right.
Like, because I couldn't fit one otherwise. Okay, and then you're on my drones again. We'll just use our drones to attack.
Hive cluster under direct
Run
assault.
our drones away for a second. And then use our drones to attack again once you engage my queens. Take our drones off for a second. So right there, what we're doing as well is, I guess, a little bit more micro-intensive. But, well, yeah, I'll talk about it in a second. We're basically reassigning your Zergling's attack commands. Why did I just kill my queen? What the fuck? Okay, now we have roaches too. We finally got roaches, so. Definitely help a lot at absorbing. Yeah, good job so far though about being really aggressive with it. And there's one thing about this game right now that is making us, as the defender here, feel a lot more confident. Where, like, a lot of people that were playing this game that aren't using overlord placement would be shitting their pants and being like, oh, well, oh my god, there's so many lings attacking me, I feel like I might die. But I can see your current your current base count is still on 2 bases, so you know, the amount of lings you're sending at me is very aggressive, right? But now, at this point, we've actually stabilized on roaches, and we're good to go, right? We have roaches now, and we're still making drones at this point where we should be fine. So this is just going to get harder and harder and harder for you to continue to break now, because we're going to be making roaches. But
so one thing that I just noticed was that like I got up to like, I don't know, like 1,000 minerals. So if I had like planted down a macro hatch or something, since I'm not able to spend all of my money, that have like made it easier to break you.
I mean, yeah. I mean, if you're ideally getting all your money spent, yeah, of course you're gonna have a little bit more of a powerful attack for sure. Okay, so you kind of got the idea, to like what I just did, right? Now I want you to do it against me. I want to break you now, and I want you to defend against me. I do not want you to make lings. Like, notice how I didn't make a single fucking zergling. All I made was walls. You actually broke my walls a lot too. Like, definitely it was good by you, fucking terrible by me. I should always be refilling in walls behind walls. So that every time you break a wall, there's another wall behind it, and my queens are just killing you repeatedly. And all you gotta do when you get all in like that is just keep making queens, keep making drones, so you can afford to keep making queens. And then if you keep making drones, you can afford to keep making more walls. If all you do is make more and more and more walls, and you make lings, you're not going to have any fucking drones anymore, and you're going to have no economy. And you're going to be like, oh, I'm fucking broke. And the really nice thing about when you make walls, if you do it at the proper time, what's it called? When the building's done, when it dies, like an Evo chamber is done and it dies, it spawns broodlings, which fucking own zerglings. They actually do a shitload of... It's like 6 broodlings spawn they're very similar stats in zerglings. Like a zergling is 35 hit points and 5 damage, and a broodling is 30 hit points and 4 damage with an even faster attack speed than a zergling. It's crazy. It's fucking crazy how good broodlings are versus zerglings. So now this game, do beat a GM. I'll do the exact same build you just did with the aggression and try to hold. And try to keep your overlord in a spot where you can see it happening. And then put 3 overlords like I did. Put like 1 overlord in front of the natural, and then 2 more overlords at the 3rd and the other possible 3rd. So that it actually, you have like a clear understanding of like what is capable out of your opponent, or if it's just all in all game. And after this, we'll wrap it up, I guess. Also, this map, I'm not gonna lie, is one of the hardest maps in the map pool to defend the fucking this build on, because that gas, definitely, if you remember how I did that gas, do that. You're gonna need to, because you can't actually build properly behind that gas. There's not enough room on the side of the creep, unless you have a tumor there, and then you gotta be careful when not putting a tumor in a way to block your base. So you can always use your mineral line as well, and then tuck your queens in the side of the mineral line too. That's also very doable. Just always think to yourself, how can I restrict his movement as much as possible with queens and buildings? That's all it really is.
Oh, yeah.
Because, and the idea is you want to make a roach warren, and you want to make roaches as soon as you can with queens, but you don't really want to make lings. But the only reason why I didn't make roaches for such a long time is because you fucking killed my roach warren. So, it was a good job again by you to do that. And the last thing I'll say while you're doing this is I'm actually going to pause this because this is important. I don't want to distract you too much either. A drone is like a worker, okay? Not just a drone. Probes and SCVs are the same way. A worker is the only unit in the game that has a no priority or a high priority of auto attack. And what that means is, if your workers, your drones, are on A move, and my lings are on A move, and your drones are in front of your queens, I will kill all of your drones before I attack your queens. And that's not what you want to do, because drones are way squishier than queens, and drones do more DPS than queens if you have a lot of them. If you compare the DPS of 15 drones to 1 queen, 15 drones do way more fucking damage than 1 queen. So what you want to do, if I breach into your base, is you can attack with your drones for a second and then move command them so that my lings aggro your queens, and then re-A move again into the back of my lings on your queens. But don't wait too long because your queens will die, but don't do it too fast so that your drones die. There's a balance of time there. I don't know how good you're going to feel at it, but it takes practice. But that's literally why I beat you last game. You actually should have won the game if I didn't micro well there. Like, I actually let you break my base way too fast, and I was like, oh, fuck, I'm probably going to lose. But then I microed my drones so that I won anyways. But I did that exact thing I just said is why I won. Drone priority of aggression or not aggression. The idea is you want to get the lings on your queens, but kill them off the queens as fast as fucking possible. And you can always poke the lings and stop poking them. Poke them, stop poking them. Like, get one attack off and then stop. If that makes sense.
Okay.
Like, try your best to micro your drones if I break you like that. But ideally, don't break. Ideally, keep making Evo chambers and always stuffing the corner, like the hole in, and make roaches as fast as possible. Okay?
Okay.
That's the ideal situation. Because as soon as you noticed, as soon as I had roaches, it was over. I just won the game then.
Right.
All right, you ready?
Yep.
Okay.
Game resumed.
Fuck, I fucked up. Yeah, I don't know what's wrong with me. I'm like so out of it today. I fucked up the build again. I like mined 48 gas more than I needed to. It's whatever though. I'll still be able to afford everything. For what our plan here is, just to all in. Okay, so I'm gonna pause really fast. You're reacting to this way too fucking early. You haven't actually seen a link flood yet.
I saw a move out.
That was what's in front of your base right now.
earlier.
It was just 4 lings. This is super standard. So just keep in mind, for this example, you could have done this as well, right? There was no reason why I would have said, you can't attack me early. You don't have to just hide all your lings. You could have done whatever the fuck you wanted. But 4 lings moving out of a Zerg's base is completely standard.
Okay.
Like, that's going to happen practically every game in Diamond Plus. Maybe not low Diamond, but like once you get to upper Diamond to Masters, this is like 95% of your ZvZs are going to have a person opening up with like 4 or 6 lings and walking out with them because these are scouts. They're actually scout. They're going to harass someone who's too greedy, but it's really just the scout. So if you make that wall like that fucking fast against the scout, you're literally showing your hand way too fucking fast is what you're doing. This is now showing me that you're doing a 2-base tech build, and I can automatically abuse that if I wanted to. I could just not all in you now if I wanted to and just not make lings anymore and make drones and tech really fast against you or take a 3rd base against you and do whatever the fuck I want. So you definitely don't want to make it that fast. You want to be really, really, really aware of the natural, and as soon as you see the flood, as soon as you actually witness a flood, build the rest of your wall. I'm totally okay with you building your first Evo and your first Roach Warren at a normal time, though. I did that myself last game, too. I didn't add extra Evos, though, until I saw them move out. Like that you were walking out with, like, 14 lings. So you got to understand the difference there. Like, it's a scout is a scout, and an all-in is an all-in, and you got to definitely get comfortable reading the difference there about, like, how much that means. And, like, anything that all-in means, like, literally we're talking, like, non-stop constant, and it starts with maybe, like, double-digit and, like, numbers, like 12, 18, 20, whatever. And then a scout is literally, like, we're talking 4, 2, 4, 6, something like that.
Right, okay.
Okay. So you can keep them this game. It's fine. But, yeah, I just really want you to never do that in the future. Because if that was your standard, that would be really bad.
Okay.
All right, you ready?
Yep.
Also, one more thing, too. I want to say this one more time, too. This is also important. We talked about proper wall, right? And I think you're fixing it right now, too. But I just want to make sure you're... if you fix it already and you're already doing this, you're fucking A+, 200 IQ. Good job. But never have a doorway in your wall if you're getting all in. If you're getting all in, full wall that shit.
Full wall, okay.
You only have a doorway when it's you plan on taking your third base and you're just stopping harassment, like scouting essentially. But if you see a flood, do not fucking have a doorway. Like wall that shit off, or you're gonna die. So, because like if I showed up with all my lings and your doorway was like that with your queen, I 100% would kill you.
Mhm.
Oh, sorry, I resumed it. I didn't ask if you're ready, but yeah, I hope you're good.
Yeah.
Yeah, you gotta be careful too, man. You're going a little crazy on the droning here. It's only four. Like you have a lot of links coming now, but yeah.
Evolution complete.
Make sure. Okay, I'm gonna pause one more time. Or I can't. Just do your best. Do your best. Don't forget your other queen in your main. It helps a lot if you pull both queens.
Oh, yeah. With the roaches.
Yeah, I think you're dead too. I think all your queens are dead. So I'm gonna break down the replay really fast.
Okay.
Like this will be a super quick breakdown. But we'll talk about it super quick here from your perspective.
Mhm.
So, so you're making
I
drones.
also accidentally make links.
You made links too.
Accidentally.
Yeah, it's ideally you don't want to be making lings when you could be like. We'll talk about it, right? We'll talk about it. But yeah, if you make lings, it's kind of shit at this point. Like you're not even investing into lings. It's just gonna be a dead weight for you.
Mhm.
All right. So that right there, again, normal. If you saw 12 lings coming out of my base right now, or if you saw two, like every half of a second, two more, and it went up to a total of 16 or some shit, then I'd be like, get that wall going right now. Because this guy is like walking to your base right now with an intent to kill you. But that right there is not an all in. That is just 4 lings. So that's why minimap awareness is so fucking important, because you have to pay attention to numbers like that. You have to have reactions. That's why I said not every game's ever going to be the same. You have to always be aware of each game you're playing in as to what is happening. So the fact that you're pulling 3 drones right now is way too fucking much. And you went triple Evo. This is way too heavy. Like this is going to slow down everything for you. Like now you don't, where your layers late, like your whole build is going out the window. Because keep in mind, when I defended you, I already started my layer. I had a 3rd queen started. Everything was normal. I didn't do anything different. I spent all my larvae constantly when they were out. It was exactly what I was doing in Beta Jam. And you just made 4 Evos. And now you made an Evo and a Roach Warren. And as I said before, again, I'm okay. I'm not gonna ream you too hard about this, because I'm doing it all into you right now. But don't forget, make this a fucking doorway normally. And if your opponent is all inning you, you can always fill in the doorway with another Evo behind it. That's totally fine. Because you're gonna need more Evos anyways. If you're getting flooded by lings and you're just making queens and drones. And now here's the thing. Here's a really big thing to know, okay? So like that right there too, way too many fucking drones, man. Like you see that this is now, that right there, that is 100% an all-in. It's way too many fucking lings. I have now revealed my hand. Your overlord was very well placed this game. Good job on that. Super nice job on that. Just remember, don't have try your best to have your future overlords like this one. It just spawned, which is fine. But ideally, I hope it's going to like right there, right? It looks like it might be like it's, yeah, you have no, you don't even have a rally point. So it actually is going that direction. It looks like it's going to go like there probably. So that's good. Put it in front of your base so you can spot in front of you, which is good shit. But yeah, this is way too many drones. Don't just green box your whole mineral line and walk over here and then try to build out of it. Okay, don't do that.
Right.
Literally, if you do green box some drones, try your best to guesstimate how many drones do I need to wall that. Definitely not like 9. You need literally 1 or 2. Like 1 would actually wall that off.
Right.
So a little bit excessive, and be a lot faster about actually using your queens. So the second you saw this, immediately inject whatever. If you're close to an inject, do it. If you're not close, which you're actually not really close right now, just pull the fucking queen and get it over here.
Okay.
Okay. Because I'm gonna like no low diamond player is really gonna do. I could have abused this on you, by the way, if I really wanted to. This game, I didn't though. I backed up my lings, but you got to be. The reason why you want to pull your queens really fast, okay, is because if you don't fucking get rid of these lings before these lings get here, I could just park my lings right there so you can't wall me out, and then I could just annoy you and until these lings eventually die, and by then these lings would be at your base and I would flood into you and you wouldn't even get a wall. So get me off your wall ASAP. Start smacking my ass with your queen as soon as I arrive. Even if it's a scout, that's totally fine. Prevent me from being able to be annoying as fuck there, because I could literally prevent you from building a wall if I wanted to, if you don't punish my lings. Right. See how I just backed up? I was like, that's fine. Let him have it. Yeah. But that would be fucking annoying for you because you're not even using your queen.
Right.
And now, like right here, if you were making this Evo here, you can make another one behind it, and another one to the right of it as well. Like you can make 2 Evos and wall that off again. Because you're intending for this one, like this one is very likely going to die. It's your lowest health building right now. Obviously it's still building, but it's getting its ass fucking beat right now, so it's probably gonna breach. And then notice how when you start hitting my lings, we back up for a second, and then we group up with more, and we come back and do it again, because I don't want to just let lings die for no reason. So if you'd use that queen faster, I would have done less damage. I wouldn't have done this much damage to your Roach Warren. I wouldn't have done that much damage to your Evo, which is like half of its health already. Because when it's finished, it's not going to be full health. It's going to literally be like almost half health probably, or like 60%. So all this damage you already took wouldn't have been there if that queen would have just been a little bit more assertive. And this queen over here is just kind of chilling, doing nothing. What if you had 2 queens? I really couldn't have done anything, like extremely, as soon as you saw that move out. And now check this out. So I did say make drones as much as you can, but just to make sure you know, you actually should make roaches as soon as you can. The only reason why I didn't make roaches is because you moved out really fucking early on yours. You moved out like way before you had speed, and you killed my Roach Warren, and I couldn't even make roaches. And if you make roaches right, because you can, you just made some drones, you have some lings being made. If you just make some roaches right now, you could have roaches. Even if the Roach Warren dies, you could have roaches already started, and then you know you'd be good to go. So ideally what you'd want to do here, make roaches. You're not going to be able to make an infinite roaches either. You're going to have a very limited amount of roaches you can make, but you can make some roaches. You can put a couple more Evos, like Evo, 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 Evo. Tuck a queen in the doorway right there with like 1 more Evo there. And then if you have roaches behind it, once you get to a point when you have like 8 roaches, go back to making drones again. And then you're going to be good to fucking go. Because that's exactly what I did to you. Once I got my Roach Warren up, I made like 8 roaches, and then I went back to droning. I didn't just make roaches forever. Because roaches behind a wall are incredibly strong. And keep in mind too, you are building a wall, which these 2 are correct Evo chambers, but you got to really pay close attention to all your building's health bars, and you're not really having enough of an assertive reaction to the right side here. Like this is going to break. And that Evo right there does nothing. That doesn't do anything.
Right.
Like if you put another one above it, it actually would wall.
Mhm.
But, I mean, it's just really exposed, and it could die super easy anyways. And then that would create a corner-to-corner gap that Lynx could squeeze through this area anyways. You gotta be really careful about that shit. Which is why I thought it was a good idea to put an Evo Chamber up here and then put a queen in the doorway. Because that right there is a perfect doorway. Because only one Ling at a time can fit. Or maybe two if you squeeze.
As it may.
But like right here, right now, if I wanted to, I could kill your Roach, Warren, and your Evo Chamber by manually focus firing, and then just right-click into your main base. And avoid all this whole fight right now, because you have no way to stop me going right here. So now, I do fight this for a little while with your Broodlings, which honestly you shouldn't as the all-inner, but that, because right, you see how many Broodlings that is? It's fucking a lot of Broodlings. That's a lot. That's like you just made a bunch of Lings right there for a second. So I definitely should not be fighting that as the all-inner. But you should not let me be breaching you this hard like this either. You're just not really having enough of an assertive Evo Chamber area here. Like it's almost like you're expecting your Lings to be able to fight this, and they really can't. Yeah, and once you pull drones, I know I did it in my game because, to be fair, I fucked my wall up too. I should never have let you in my base. I was kind of, I don't know why I let you in my base either. I did the same thing you did. I was like, what? Wait, what? But yeah, if you're pulling drones, this is worst case scenario for you. Like, you can still make it work, but you ideally don't want to be doing this because it means you've already fucked up. You're like already letting your base be breached. So this is not the ideal situation. And then if you don't, so like right there when you were going to, if you knew, the last thing I'll say is this. If you knew you were going to breach right here, if you were like, like right now, you're like, shish kebabs, dude. My base is, there's no way I'm going to get a drone here in time to cover that. And even if you did, you got to always think to yourself, even if I start an Evo Chamber right as this breaks, are they going to build faster than Lynx kill them? The answer is no. So you have to start them prematurely, kind of like these two. These are good because you're building them before these buildings die. So there's going to be some, like you're going to be ahead of time here before this building gets attacked. So it's not going to be getting killed right as it starts. So it'll be done before it dies for sure, which means it spawns Broodlings and it buys you more time. But this, the right side, there's no way, there's fucking zero way that it finishes now. So what you really should be doing is running your queens to the ramp and holding the ramp to minimize surface area. If you did that, you would have had a chance. But since you didn't do that, there's no chance. You let me fully surround you and you died. So anyways, did this help? I hope this helped you understand a little bit more, but you got to really, like, I think your biggest thing you got to overcome is, like I said before, your whole gameplay so far in bronze to plat has been autopilot. Like, I do one thing, I autopilot that repeatedly every game, and that's just what I do. The hardest thing for you to learn now is going to be to actually analyze what your opponent's doing by scouting them and then trying to make a good reaction. You have to play. Sorry, go ahead. What are you going to say?
Just got it.
What?
Got it.
Okay. Yeah, there's no other way to talk about ZvZ. Like, the only way you can play ZvZ in a way that's just repeatedly doing everything the same every single time is if you all in them. If you're the all-inner, then you can do that every game. I mean, you just all in repeatedly, the same exact all in over and over and over. But if you macro, you have to fucking react. You have to react in every matchup, to be fair. But ZvZ is a little bit scarier because it's requires more awareness because it can shift into aggression so fucking fast. When it looks like it could be macro. Like, oh, he's not proxying me, but yet he's all-inning me. Right? I guess, yeah. Anyways, Zogger, any final questions about anything?
Nope.
All right, man. Well, I will upload this lesson, and I definitely saved the replay, I would say, of your example and my, like, the example of you all-inning me, just so you can kind of get some micro tips there. Like, you can actually see what I do there. Like, if you watch it a few times, like, I kind of talked about it a little bit, but you can see the difference a little bit. And you can also see, even more importantly than that, you can see how I react to you're all in. When I don't just pull all my drones and then fucking set a wall up immediately, right? I actually did it like gradually, which means my economy's better.
Mm-hmm.
All right, man. Well, I wish you the best of luck. Thanks for doing a coaching lesson, and I guess I'll see you on stream. And good luck.
Right, thank you.
Good luck in your games, dude.
Thank you.
All right. I'll send you this VOD by probably like tomorrow too.
Okay, sounds good. Thanks.
All right, later, man.
Bye.
All right, guys. That has been a coaching lesson with Zolgao. Thanks for watching, everybody. Hope you enjoyed it. I hope it helped anyone out there as well. Learn some stuff about stuff. But much love. Appreciate you. And I will see you guys in the next video as to whatever that might be. Until then, good luck and peace, guys. See ya.